Soybeans and bean oil caught fire and rallied sharply today, helping to support mild gains in corn futures. And that was even with wheat prices under pressure. Live and feeder cattle futures were higher with mixed trade in lean hogs. And man, look at cotton. Cotton might have broken out to the upside.
Live from Unbroken Cotton via Farm Journal broadcast, this is AgriTalk. This afternoon, it's a conversation with Scott Varilek from KKV, directly following the news all over Sloup from Blue Line Futures. I'm handsome newsman Davis Michelson, and now the host of AgriTalk, Chip Flory.
All right, Davis. Hey, thank you so much. Man, oh man, what a move in the soy complex.
Yeah.
Bean oil sharply higher, 200 points higher in some of those bean oil contracts. Soybeans ended the day up 20 cents. It was quite the move. We're going to find out from Oliver exactly what is going on there. And, of course, this morning we talked about what is the Fed going to do, and the Fed did what both of our guests that talked about what the Fed was going to do did. Do.
Okay.
Did I get that right? Did.
Done.
Yes.
Doored.
They cut.
Doored. Yes.
The Fed cut interest rates, the Fed funds rate by 1/4 of 1 point. And it come absolutely 100% in line with trade expectations. Now, the question is going forward, how does what's going to be the Fed's attitude towards interest rates? And if the press conference is any indication, we should expect that the Fed is going to be led by Jay Powell. He was asked flat out, and if President Trump asks you to resign, will you resign? He gave a one-word answer. No.
Really?
Really.
That's interesting.
That is it. Really won't even. It did not give any indication that he would even consider stepping aside from his post. And you know what? As soon as he said it, I went to look and see how long does his term at the top of the Fed last. I haven't gotten a chance to check that out yet. But he's not resigning, not even if President-elect Trump asks him to do that. We've got Scott Varilek on the show today.
Yeah, we do. I'm looking at my local grocer's ad. They're offering Casey strip steaks, 10-ounce, boneless, $6 a piece. Meanwhile, center cut pork chops, bone in, $1.99 a pound. Yeah, there you go.
$1.99 a pound. Some of that's brain food. Some of it tastes really, really good. As a matter of fact, it all tastes really, really good. Some of it makes you smarter, though.
Well, this is what I've heard. Yeah. I'll remember after I eat some pork. Chip wheat futures ended the session lower. December soft red winter wheat futures opened slightly higher and traded to within 0.5 cent of resistance at 5.80 before turning back to post a mid-range close. Wheat export sales in the week ended October 31 totaled nearly 375,000 metric tons, and that was in line with trade expectations. The U.S. dollar pulled back from yesterday's strong advance, and that helped to limit selling in wheat futures. Price pressure was the result of improved rain chances in U.S. hard red winter wheat areas. December HRW wheat futures 1 nickel lower, 5.69. December soft red wheat down 1 3/4 cents to 5.71 1/2. December spring wheat, I'm seeing it unsettled here, down 3 1/2 cents at 6.02 even, Chip.
Yeah, that was the last trade as I've got it there, too. You know what? It almost felt like the wheat market was just kind of backed off from today's trade and was a watcher more than anything in that market today.
Well, corn export sales in the week ended October 31 totaled nearly 2.77 million metric tons. That tops trade expectations, with Mexico accounting for about half of those sales. Unknown destinations, Japan, Colombia, and Portugal, were also on the list of buyers. USDA this morning also announced the sale of 120,000 metric tons of U.S. corn for delivery to unknown destinations in the current marketing year. December corn closed higher for a 5th consecutive session. The session started with lower open and a drop to moderately lower levels before prices recovered to close near session highs and at the highest level since October 3rd. December corn futures today 1 1/4 cents higher at 4.27.5. March corn up 1 1/2 cent to 4.40.5. July corn futures closed at 4.51.5, up 2 cents on the day. Doesn't take much of a rally to make me excited about corn, Chip.
Yeah, I get you. Especially when you're selling 2.77 million metric tons in the export market. That's a great tally.
Yep. Soybean export sales in the weekend at October 31 totaled 2.04 million metric tons. That was in line with trade expectations. China accounted for 1.22 million tons of bean buys. Egypt, Turkey, and Japan also on that list of buyers. There are rising expectations bean importers will increase coverage in the next 2 months before President-elect Trump is back in the White House. Soybean oil export sales in the week totaled just over 114,000 metric tons, and that was more than double the highest trade guess, Chip, and that sent bean oil prices sharply higher. January bean futures opened fractionally higher, dropped to test support at $10, and then pushed sharply higher to close near session highs and at the highest level since October 10. January beans all told 22.5 cents higher at 10.26 1/4. March beans up 22 3/4 to 10.37.5. July beans closed at 10.62 1/4. That's up 20 1/4 cents. Look at them soybeans go, Chip.
Yeah, no doubt about it. A big export sales week for soybean oil, and it was a good week for soybean meal as well. Almost 400,000 metric tons. Mexico was at the top of that buyer's list too. So, man, it was just a good week in the soy complex. We'll get to the rest of the news at the start of the next segment. I want to bring in Oliver Sloup from Blue Line Futures. How you doing, Oliver?
I'm doing well, Chip. The answer to your question, Powell,
yes.
May 2026.
Okay, so it's not like he's just saying I'm gonna wait out my last 2 or 3 months. He's got time left.
He's got about a year and a half left. Yep.
No doubt. Thank you for that. What'd you make of beans?
Really, really impressive price action since marking those lows Tuesday night, Wednesday morning. And nice to see the follow through today out above technical resistance and taking out those highs that we saw there back at the end of October. And I think that bodes pretty darn well. You know, the story over the last several months has been no demand, but we're starting to see some demand, and that certainly got some people pretty excited here, and I'm pretty excited about it too, because beans there hasn't been a whole lot of optimism around that market for quite some time. So anytime you get a rally 40 cents off the lows in the matter of 36 hours is something to be happy about. Now that could obviously all change. Big report tomorrow. Don't know that a whole lot's gonna move the needle on that front, but at least we got some momentum going, and maybe the fund participation picks up a little bit and can feed on itself into the end of the year.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Man, neither the cattle or the hogs did much today. Inside trading days. More sideways action ahead?
Yeah, really quiet day, which, you could make the case that's not really friendly, because the stock market has had such a monstrous rally over the last 2 days. You really would have liked to see cattle perform a little bit better. Yeah,
no doubt. All right, buddy. Hey, good luck getting bowl eligible.
Yeah, well, we got a bye week, so we got to wait. We're on hold.
You're going to have to wait. Oh, shoot. All right, Oliver. Thanks, man. Oliver Sloup, Blue Line Futures. Coming up next, we are talking cattle trade. Scott Varilek, KKV Trading, here on AgriTalk.
When news breaks, the newsmakers talk about it on AgriTalk with Chip Flory.
And welcome back to AgriTalk. I'm Chip. Glad you're with us on this Thursday afternoon. Thursday afternoon already. Amazing.
Thursday already.
Thursday. Yeah. Hey, before we get to Scott Varilek, let's go ahead and wrap up that news, Davis.
Sure thing. Well, we've got the cotton export sales weekend at October 31, 229,000 running bales. Pakistan, Vietnam topped the list of buyers, which also included some sales to China. December cotton today, 136 points higher at 71.05. Wow. On your livestocks, beef export sales, 8,000 metric tons. I should say just 8,000 metric tons, down 45%, Chip. That's from the 4-week average. Heavyweight choice graded boxed beef dropped $2.89 in morning trade to pull live cattle futures down from session highs. December fats up 42.5 today. at 185.82.5, and Jan feeders were 30 cents higher, 244.32.5. And on your snout side, pork export sales, 14,700 metric tons, were a marketing year low for pork sales. December hogs, 92.5 lower, 81.20. Chip?
Yeah, all right. Thank you very much, Davis. Let's bring in Scott Varilek, Koima Varilek Trading. How you doing, Scott? It's good to talk to you again.
Hey, doing great, gentlemen. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, glad you're here. Glad you're here, man. So, you know what? I want to just launch straight into this, and I think we need to start with what is going on in the cash market. Little bit of a setback this last week, but man, oh man, Scott, what a run we have seen in this cash cattle trade.
Yeah, and it's been a fun ride. It really
Yeah,
has. And after our last break that we had last fall into some scary times, cash has been what's gotten us, back out of that hole, got us back on this rally, and kept the funds interested. So that's been rock solid. We've had steady to higher cash for quite a long period of time now, and so cash is king. That's what we've been
yeah,
talking about. We feel good. Yes, we've been talking about this for years, how we've gotten to this situation, the tighter supply
yep,
coupled with good demand, and just really got tighter numbers in general. And I think that's been what we're falling back on. And Packers have had to scramble. This is the first time
yeah.
producers have had leverage in a long period of time.
Yeah. Yeah. Usually when we see the kind of cash strength that we have in the cash market, it just shows reluctance to go lower. That's when the Packers start playing some games out there, Scott. Are they moving some cattle around, trying to take pressure off the tightest areas?
Yeah, the Packers have done an amazing job. Lots of band-aids to try to hold this together
Yep.
because they also know how tight the numbers are. And
Yep.
so lately, a lot of the cattle in the north here, Nebraska, Kansas, they've had to ship them south down to Texas. So a lot of moving around of cattle. They're trying to buy cattle for every week out in front of them for a month out, just trying to get inventory around them. So there's that scary thought that, okay, hopefully, now that the South is that tight right now, that they can keep everything flowing without any major disruptions, but that's what they're using right now, moving them around. All Packers participating. I think that's been one of my
Hmm.
highlights is just the choice of different Packers who you can sell to, and that's not been the case for negotiated traders. We're not used to that. It's usually okay. Maybe it's just this outfit or that one that's really after him this week, so that's who I have to settle with. But we've had choices, able to sell to all of them. So I think that's a good sign. Just proves, yes, they are looking for numbers, and really benefits us when that happens.
You mean to tell me there's actual negotiation happening in the cash cattle trade, Scott?
It has been a little bit fun. It has been lately. But the unfortunate part is this is how tight we have to make our numbers in order to get some leverage back. We had to
Yeah.
just send a huge message that just said, hey, there's not enough dollar bills coming down this pipeline. We're going to keep shrinking. So, I think there's a lot to say about that, but
Yeah.
to have this ability to negotiate, that's what we want. To be able to say, hey, this is what I want for my cattle, I can pass, rather than you are at their mercy and having to do whatever they're offering that week.
Right. Right. Talk to me about the cattle that we are processing right now and the quality. Um, what's the average calf?
Well, right now, we're in some interesting times because our cost of gains are cheap, so
Hmm.
we've got, corn down to a lower level, and they're starting to see these sub a dollar cost of gains, and we're getting $1.90 on the going out. So those dollars are starting to talk, big calf, big check, is really a mentality that's starting to, continuing to circulate, I guess. You're saying I can just make this critter that I have right now bigger. That's also what the Packer wants. They can slow down chain speeds. They've done some of those games, as you were kind of talking about, to try to
Yeah.
push them back. But we're putting a lot of weight on these cattle, and they're big. So that's another band-aid for this tight supply. We're killing this many less numbers, but beef production is only slightly down on the year. So that's been how we're, filling some of that void. And choice select spread staying this positive with the weights this big. Really impressed by that because I feel like there's been quite a boost to prime carcasses, the amount of prime
Yep.
carcasses that we're throwing on the market year over year. So I think that's helping some of this choice select kind of these numbers. I
Yeah.
don't think we pulled back in the fall as much as we normally do. We didn't drop as much on the choice. And maybe that's also part of the reasons that the northern cattle have to go south to try to make up for some of the lack
Yeah.
of choice in the south. But I think there's plenty of them around.
Yeah. Yeah. And we're getting exactly to where I wanted to get this the quality of cattle that we are producing right now and the quality of beef that we're putting in the meat case is helping us. It has helped us maintain demand, hasn't it, Scott? I mean, if we had a so-so product with the price tag on it that we've got right now, our demand would not be holding up, but it's quality product and consumers are finding a way to keep it on the plate.
Yeah, consumers are still have been talking. They want premium product. They want quality, and that's what's carried the beef demand to where it is, and
Yeah.
that has not went away. It's just been. I'm trying to think back. It just feels like it's been year over year. Like now, I'm almost just taking it for granted that beef demand is
Yeah.
awesome. Consumers want it, and we can almost just put that to rest and say, yeah, we've got a good product. It's what they want. So I think if we're creating, like I said, the better prime cuts, there's going to be some really good movement of some high quality products. So really looking forward to what we have happening. And yeah, a day like yesterday, when you have a stock market up 1,500, you're starting to feel like, hey, I don't see any big red flags that are going to change this in the immediate future for me.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. It does get a little interesting when we see the move like we did yesterday, and on a day when it leaves cattle behind, it does make you scratch your head a little bit on whether or not this cattle market is as connected to the general economy as what we think it is. But I haven't seen anything to really break break that tie completely, right?
All right.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of a worry. Yeah, when you see the party happening and here you sit outside kind of wanting in. And that's a little bit what it felt like yesterday, but ultimately cattle traded firm. You're looking at the feeder market is staying strong, but with this last break in the futures, I think, before we leave the cash market, you're just a little bit
Yeah.
worried about that. These
Yeah.
basis traders can usually show up and say, okay, well, the futures are down a little bit. I can take a little less. I still got a good basis. Let's take this deal, make it happen. And some of those corporate outfits that do I guess give in more to that basis quicker. We're already to Thursday, and we're not seeing the cash market really develop real hard this week yet. So
Right.
I guess that gives me a little confidence that nobody has buckled yet. That we're we're
Yeah.
we're standing a little bit firmer, but could be just Packers bought that many sheer numbers in the last few weeks trying to get cattle around them. The
Okay.
reason that hasn't happened yet. So we get a little up today. If we could
Yep.
just put a little bit more on, hey, that might go better than I
Well,
thought.
yeah, and we've only got about 30 seconds left in this segment here, Scott, but it feels to me like these live cattle the futures, are rejecting trade below 185 right now. That's an impressive development.
I think you saw what October futures went off. We've had such a bull spread market that front month has been able to hold on and stay strong. So if you've been watching those last few months go off the board, you're feeling okay about the D's contract here, around that 185. It's getting quite a ways under cash. And we still feel like there's a pretty firm floor there.
Yep. Okay. All right, now making a couple of notes here. What I want to talk about when we come back, Scott, is what do you like for risk management in these live cattle and the fat? What do we need to do there? And then let's talk about what's going on in this feeder market. And then we've got some industry issues that I would like to discuss with you as well. We're talking with Scott Varilek, Varilek Trading here on AgriTalk.
Let's go to the markets page at profarmer.com and check today's closes, where December HRW wheat futures were a nickel lower at $5.69. December soft red wheat down 1 3/4 cents to $5.71 1/2. And here's December spring wheat finally settled 3 cents lower, $6.02 1/2. December corn futures 1 1/4 cents higher at $4.27 1/2. March corn up 1 1/2 to $4.40 1/2. January soybean futures 22 1/2 cents higher, $10.26 1/4 today. March beans up 22 3/4 cents to $10.37 1/2. December cotton 136 points higher, 71.05. On your livestocks, December fats were up 42 1/2 cents to 185.82 1/2. January feeders 30 cents higher, 244.32 1/2. December lean hogs 92 1/2 lower, 81.20. Get more. Visit tryprofarmer.com. Opinions expressed on AgriTalk do not necessarily reflect the views of Farm Journal Broadcasting, affiliate stations, or sponsors. I don't know what you're thinking. So call us at 855-4TALK-AG and tell us what's on your mind.
Welcome back to AgriTalk. I'm Chip. Glad you're with us Thursday afternoon. We are in the middle of a conversation with Scott Varilek at Varilek Trading up in Northwest Iowa. Scott, how'd that corn crop end up for you guys up there in Northwest Iowa?
Pretty good. I think in general, definitely spotty, some variance, but I think everybody's pretty pleased with what they had, challenges that we had from flooding to getting dry late. But no, it's a pretty good crop up here, and so feels good to put that one away.
We were talking about how the feed is cheaper, therefore, these animals are getting heavier. It even with everything that happened this year up in Northwest Iowa, basis on corn just really never broke, did it?
No, it usually stays pretty strong here, and it's kind of an odd kind of county right here in Sioux County. We actually import corn into this county, and you think, wow, in Iowa, we're importing corn in here. But yes, that's how many livestock are around here, and 'tis the season. It sure smells like it as we get the manure spread out there. So it's a very progressive kind of an area here. So yeah, that's not a surprise to this area, even though you can have that large of a crop, and you're still seeing some pretty good basis here.
Yeah, no doubt. Okay, we talked a lot about the fundamentals that are happening in the cash cattle trade right now. Take it over to risk management. What are some of the strategies? I'm not looking for anything specific, but what would you like guys to consider?
Yeah, and I don't think we have to get super specific. It's just kind of the feel of this market. So it's done what the cattle cycle said we could do. With those tight numbers finally showed up. I think it was a couple years behind when I probably thought it would, but here we are enjoying some great prices, and it's been a great year. Profits are there. Needed it. Get that pocket filled up. It's been more on the empty side over years in the cattle feeding industry, but
yeah.
But here we sit. We've had this run back. We're hanging around 190, and it's like, okay, what's the story? Are we gonna break through and go to 210, 220 now, or what is it? But it almost feels like even us, cow counters or the fundamental guys are just kind of looking at this, and there's still that little bit of lack of trust that's there. And I've got a lot of risk out there. Operating notes are getting maxed because the price of these feeder cattle are very high, and you've got a high interest rate. So I don't think you can just hang on. I mean, maybe it's not doing what just keep doing what I always do and take the flows. I'm pretty nervous up here at this level. And when that market starts to flip or starts to go, that's when more guys start calling to do hedges. It's not on the way up. So basically thinking about your plan before. What kind of risk can I take? Because once it turns over and it's down $2 and $3, that's when I sell more cattle. Guys are calling in, you better sell me some, you better, when the ship has already kind of left. So trying to find ways. I think we've been carrying some hedges all along here on this last rally, this nice uptrend. Just kind of telling myself that I'm going to have some on. I can be as bullish as I want, but I don't trust it fully. So making sure that I've got something on. I'm really kind of getting to that every day that goes by. I think I'm
Yeah.
losing a little bit of confidence, making sure I have some protection on.
Yep. Yep. I was thinking about this earlier this week, Scott. The cattle market right now for us is redefining what it means to be bullish. Normally, when I say, listen, I'm bullish a market, that means that I expect the prices to work higher over a period of time. When I say I'm bullish cattle, all I'm doing is looking at the fundamentals of the market. I'm not expecting anything on price because this thing could swing $30 in either direction at the drop of a hat is what it feels like to me. So, I mean, steady. If the market goes steady, I would say I was right by saying I'm bullish. You get what I'm saying?
I absolutely do, and I think it's kind of spot on. So, I mean, we're all just kind of reaching, trying to figure out, okay, what's going to end this market, and it's usually unforeseen a little bit, but all we can do is
Yeah,
track some of those fundamentals and say, okay, well, heifer retention, that's been the biggest thing. When are we going to rebuild this cow herd, and is it
right.
happening? Well, right now the heifers are on feed and going to slaughter now. We can see it in the
Yep,
past data that
yep,
they're being slaughtered, but it's what's going on feed right now, what's being placed. And I see a cow slaughter number that's really dropped off. So
yep.
maybe we can start to say that the big liquidation has slowed down. And
Okay.
what you're going to wrestle with now, as we think, okay, we're seeing the cows being kept a little bit, but these heifers, you got a semi-load of heifers with $200,000. I mean, that's been the thought. You're like, wow, I can cash in. This is my moment. How can I pass up on that kind of paycheck
Right.
and not send them to town? But now the last cattle on feed report showed that first little nugget shift that we got 101% steers on feed versus the 99% on heifers. So it's small,
Okay.
but maybe we've reached that spot where we've stopped the liquidation, and we can decide, if we're going to be able to turn this market. But still, plenty of challenges on how we're going to find the ability to make this cow herd bigger. They're also
Yeah.
struggling with labor and high input costs. So if the market breaks too much further down, I think that creates a lot of problems. So every time I'm out there in cow calf country, you just hear those guys talking how it's hard to find people to work,
Yep.
and they just don't have enough help, and they're an aging rancher, and uh,
Yep.
so there's still a lot of challenges that be to be had. I'm just glad that we're starting this slow, rather than everybody quick keep some heifers. This thing's really good, so it's maybe a
Right.
little bit
Right.
gradual.
Yep. Okay. Um, I want to take. We're getting into the time that I wanted to switch gears here, but just real quick, what do you want to do on risk management for the cow calf guys in that feeder cattle market?
Yeah, cow calf guy, there's some good prices on the board. And yes, cash is higher than what these futures are, and I keep hearing that. And some of these guys are telling me, some of my best friends and customers twice in the last 2 days are like, boy, those feeder cattle futures look cheap. And when they say the word cheap, my hair just stands up a little bit. I'm like, oh, careful, careful, careful. We don't want to get too complacent here, because yes, 243 is not cheap. 1,900 to 2,000 pound steer is not cheap. So there's a lot of
Right.
dollars to look at there. These puts in LRP are going to be very high because we're at a high level, and there's a lot of risk here. So for me, I'm having to look at a ways to say, hey, it might be a time where I'm going to learn what a call is, and how to take a
Yeah.
little topside, trying to take a little bit of extra protection, with that top side, a little bit more able to lock it in, just because I feel like from
Yeah.
here, our risk could be more down than it is up. So I'm willing to sell out some of that top side to try to make sure I get some pretty good
Okay.
protection.
Okay. All right. Excellent. Talk to me about this Department of Justice investigation. What are your thoughts? And I know that you and Brad and Joe are probably talking about it all the time up there. So what does that conversation sound like?
Yeah, it's good. I mean, we see some of the points that the Department of Justice is investigating, and we've kind of been part of some of those calls. We've kind of, we usually throw Brad out there. We're like, come on, Brad, you're the man. Yeah, let's go. So he catches a lot of that. But I think that there's some good people behind what they're looking at, and it appears that they know what they're talking about. So just for me, it's tough that it's right now. Right now is when we're fat and happy. We finally, tightened this herd up so much that we have some leverage, and now is when we're going to go out and investigate. So my challenge for guys is they have these comment periods that we're all trying to figure out. None of us are lawyers, so we're trying to figure out what this all means. But they're just looking for evidence. If you have hard stone evidence on how you were maybe mistreated or blackballed from a certain packer, that's what they're looking for. And I guess we're just using it as an opportunity as we got in here and we got they're looking at our industry. It's hard to just sit on the sidelines. You want to get involved. So I guess what we're trying to talk to them about is making sure we have transparency. That this mandatory price reporting seems to be broken for me, for lack of a better word to use. It's used as a tool to price the rest of the industry rather than just trying to keep us aware of what cash is. Now it's become the post. That's how we're going to do it. Hog industry does that too, and it's they trade less than 1% of their cash, and that's what their whole market's based off of. That's not a road we want to go down. So it's like, if we're going to report this cash, we'd like to see it all. So knowing what all of the trades are, I mean, that's been our northern desire for a long period of time, but it runs into a lot of roadblocks, as most of the industry is formula traders. They've just given into whatever the averages are and the plus minuses and move along. But as the packer gets more and more leverage over that, we're just trying to fight for our independence, the ability to say, yes, I want more, or yes, I'll take that. So, that's where we have steered it. I have not heard any ups or downs, whether they're finding something or there's big changes in the works. But, there has been talks of the old, 30-10, 30% cash trade, picked or I can't remember the exact numbers, but making sure you're picking them up within 30 days.
Within 10 days. Yeah.
Yeah. So at least there's been some of that talk brought back up. I think we were on the right path when that was really out, but there was just too much disagreement. Different organizations. Leave it to us to fight against each other and not agree. But glad they're investigating regardless.
Yep. Well, Phil, keep me up to speed on what you guys are talking about up there, because I'd sure like to get the conversation on AgriTalk and keep it, as you said, let's make it as transparent as we possibly can. Scott, it was great to talk to you again. Thank you, man.
Oh, thanks for having me, Chip. Enjoy it as always.
You bet. Scott Varilek, KKV.
Our name says it all. AgriTalk. What more do you need to know?
Welcome back to AgriTalk, everyone. Your pal, Davis Michelson here, along with Chip Flory. Chip, I mentioned the grocery circular earlier in the show.
Yeah, you
program.
did. Yep.
Let's just look. Let's say I'm a busy working professional with hungry mouths to feed at home. Okay.
Right.
What I want to do that thing where you cook something huge and then you can kind of have sandwiches or reheat it for another day, 2, maybe 3, if all goes according to plan. So,
a couple of hot
let's
plates
start here.
Out of there.
Let's start here. Fresh, natural, whole fryer chicken. Okay. $2.49 a pound.
$2.49 a pound. $2.49 a pound. What does that weigh? Like 5 pounds?
About that. Yeah, 4 or 5.
Yeah,
somewhere in there.
Yep.
A pork butt roast.
Right.
They got them for $2.29 a pound. And now I look over here to the beef chuck roast.
Okay.
Glorious beef chuck roast. $7.99 a pound for the beef.
Oof. Wow.
Now, if you're looking for steaks, and this is kind of in a little special thing here, it says choice certified Angus beef, but that's the brand. So I don't know if they can really call this choice or whatever.
That's cab.
93% cab, yes. 93% lean ground beef patties, $6.99 a pound. Here's a ribeye steak, 12 ounces for $15.99 each. Or you can do $15.99 per pound on your T-bones.
What does that ribeye weigh per steak?
12 ounce.
That's
12 ounce.
Oh, 12 ounce. 12 ounce.
Yep, for for $15.99. I feel like that's not
Okay.
too bad, actually.
Well,
so what is a consumer to do?
You put another third on. You put another third
Yep.
on that, and I mean, you're up at $20 a pound.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, so that's a fairly high priced ribeye. Okay, so what do you like the best out of all of this?
I got to be honest, man. At $7.99 a pound, I don't care. Given the choice, you put a gun to my head. Give me the pot roast. Give me the chuck roast. I want the beef,
chuck
baby.
Roast.
I want it.
Yep.
Gotta have it.
You know, and 93% lean patties.
93%. Yeah.
Wow.
I'd go closer to 85% myself. I like a little grease in there.
Well, yeah, and especially if you're making patties. I mean, I do like some fat in the patties when you're doing that. So 93% lean at $6.99. It depends on what you're going to be making there, but an 85% or even an 80% for making hamburgers or whatever it is that you're making. Maybe you use 93% lean for hamburger helper. I don't know.
Hey, that's not bad. That's not bad.
Yeah.
That makes hamburger helper a premium dish, doesn't it?
Yep. Okay. I mean, yeah, $7.99 for the chuck roast. Absolutely. I'm probably in on that. The $15.99 for the strips. Yeah, that's not terrible.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
I don't think so.
But the brain food is the best deal on your list, isn't it?
Well, it sure is. And
the
then
pork loin
right
at
on the front
$2.29.
here, yes, and really, they've got pork loin that they say right here they'll slice it for free, $1.79 a pound. A whole boneless sold in a cryovac, and then you got the pork loin back ribs, the baby back ribs, $2.49 a pound.
Yeah.
See, that sounds delicious.
There's some pretty good deals on that pork, but pork for some reason did not enjoy the demand expansion. The consumer did not get in on the consumer learning curve like beef did when every restaurant in the country was shut down. It was like all of a sudden everybody decided, you know what, if this is the way it's going to be, I'm going to learn how to cook, and I'm going to learn to cook beef. Mm-hmm. And once they learned to cook beef, they decided, holy smokes, I can do it pretty doggone well. Well, the reason that they can do it so doggone well is because they're buying really, really high-quality beef. Really high-quality beef. I mean, that chuck roast, $7.99 a pound. You sear that thing off, stick it in a crock pot, and let it get gushy tender.
Oh,
I mean, who doesn't like that?
Yeah.
Now, on the pork side of things, did the pork roast or the pork loin or even the pork chops, did it get the same level of consumer attention and make that leap forward in consumers' kitchens?
Yeah.
I would argue that it probably did not. And so comparatively, when you look at how the price of beef has gone up over the last 5 years compared to the change in pork price over the last 5 years, and you just don't see it. Now, some of the cuts, I mean, pork shoulders used to be 99 cents a pound all day long. All day long. Now they're like $2.50 a pound.
Yep.
Okay? Darn near three times the cost. And it's because, what did everybody get? Everybody got a smoker. Everybody can, I mean, you slather that thing up with some spices and put it and get it up to 205 and pull the bone out and squish it up, and it's delicious. It's delicious.
Yeah.
So me, tonight, I will be on my own for supper tonight, and I have decided that I am going to have the most expensive cut of meat known to man.
Good man.
The most, you know what it is?
No.
You know what it is? That would be a venison
steak.
backstrap. That would That would be a venison backstrap because I got the license in it. I got the gun in it. I got the 4x4 in it. I got the gas to get me up and down the road. I've got a lifetime of work at tracking these things. A backstrap is like $4,000 a pound.
For the good ones. For the good ones.
For the good ones. National Weather Service 6 to 10 day outlook November 13th through the 17th. Above normal temperatures, above normal precipitation across the Corn Belt. 8 to 14 day November 15th through the 21st. Above normal temperatures, above normal precipitation. You got to be here tomorrow morning, 10:06 Central. We got a free-for-all. Wiesmeyer, Haney, Michelson, and me. It is the first free-for-all post-election. Be here.